Okay, Mo, thanks for joining us. You've obviously recently announced some Elite 15 qualifying changes to the 23-24 season that we're going to talk through today. Can we just start? What was your ultimate aim with the changes, and like why did you feel it needed changing from last season?
Well, I mean, first of all, the initial thought of was not really changing. It was rather that we think that we built up HYROX as a professional sport in a way over the last 6 years, and we were in the we say baby shoes here for the last couple of years, maybe building out this Elite 15 style of racing, and it was just time to do the next step in order to build out a proper series of elite racing. And that just required changes or adaptations or whatever in the first place. So the initial thought was just we want to professionalize the sport of fitness racing at HYROX, and therefore we have to come up with a completely new gold standard of racing in a way. Then as an addition to that, we had a lot of learnings and feedback from the way it was last year. And also we discussed this in the past, the difficulties of really comparing the races, although we very much stick to the fact that the setup is the same. We still know there are different parts of the race that might make it difficult to really compare just times globally, just like in most of other races that there are in the world as well. You will always have a faster marathon in Berlin, for example, than in Boston or whatever. So looking at that, we were trying to find a solution that is fair, that has a global approach, and that is adaptable to all the markets. And we had a conversation with the Elite 15 athletes in Manchester about it. We pitched them our first initial ideas, which again were meant to be initial ideas, and we collected all the feedback and tried to really deep dive into it again. And I think we came up with what I find a pretty fair and pretty cool solution. And I'm really excited for the series, but I guess we're talking about it now. But these were the initial thoughts of restructuring the entire thing.
Okay, all right, great. So I guess the main headlines are really that to qualify for the elite races at the World Championships now, you have to race into it. You can't do it purely based on time. And there's going to be essentially 7 elite races, if you like, across the season. There'll be 4 majors, 2 last chance qualifiers, and then the elite race at the World Championships. So those, can you just talk through qualifying for the majors to start with, please?
Yeah, so we were basically again trying to, I mean, we didn't reinvent the wheel. We were trying to put together the best things of global sports and how the best sports in the world are doing it. So and this is also not only for the upcoming season, right? So this is for the future. So let me talk rather about the meta approach, and then we can adapt that to the upcoming season. From a meta perspective, in the future, all the winners of majors directly qualify for next year's World Championships. So also already looking for the World Championships 25, all sorry. For the I say that again. So in the future, all winners of majors qualify directly for the majors of the next season. Apart from the fact that they're qualified for this season's World Championships, they also earn their spot for next year's major races, right? Which now only this season obviously only counts for the US champion and the European champion. But as we will have 4 majors this season, next year there will be 4 automatic qualified spots through the majors for the major series. Then we also have the 3 automatic qualifiers through the World Championships, which will also happen next year again. Right now, these are obviously the podium finishers in the men's category. That's Hunter McIntyre, that's Alexander Ronkovic, and Tobias Lautwein. And on the women's side, it's Lauren Weeks, Megan Jacoby, and at least back then, Belle McFarlane. So these are the 6 automatically qualified athletes through the World Championships. And then, as I said, we have the winners of last year's majors, although we did not officially call those races majors back then. but those two winners, which were on the men's side, David Megida and again, Alexander Ronkovic. And on the women's side, it was Lauren Weeks and it was Michaela Norman. They already also qualify automatically for the majors. Because now Lauren Weeks and Alexander Ronkovic take up 2 spots at the same time, this rolls down to the 4th of the World Championships, which is Vivian Tafuto on the women's side, and it's Ryan Kent on the men's side. So those 5 athletes are automatically qualified for this year's major series. And additionally to that, the top times of the calendar year 2023 are qualified. We chose the calendar year 2023 just because if we would have chosen only the season, it would not have been fair around the world, because there are literally no races in the US, for example, in this season before the first major in Chicago. And in other parts of the world, it's also difficult to just put in a race in order to set a time for this year's first major. So we chose 2023 to make it fair around the globe. For next season, we might adapt that. That's a point that we are up for discussion. And then this, obviously, what I just said, all counts for the first major, because the second major in Stockholm then also gets some extra auto qualifiers from the first major. Because if you finish on the podium at the first major in Chicago, you will also directly qualify for the rest of the remaining majors of the season. It sounds complicated, but in the end, I think it's not that hard.
So what's the reason that you've got the auto qualifiers in there? Is there a specific reason that you've decided to do that?
Yeah, so first of all, you always want to have not only the best athletes at the event, but you also want to acknowledge in a way certain successes or victories, and you want to give that embrace that in a way. And it's just a great start into the season if you can always make sure that you have the currently obviously best 3 athletes in the world, at least from 2.5 months ago at the World Championships, that we can say that they have an auto qualification, that this counts for something apart from just the glory of finishing podium at the World Championships. And we, of course, always want to have the best athletes in the world at our major races. So making sure that that winning a major as well as finishing podium at the World Championships does have an extra reward is something that I think is very beneficial to the overall approach of racing these races. And again, this is not reinventing the wheel. This is something, for example, that we took from golf, where winning a tournament puts you in other major events and gives you the chance to, really put yourself to the test with the best in the world. This only counts for the next season. So the 5 automatic qualifiers that counts for this upcoming season, and then next season we will have new, or maybe the same, but other people have an opportunity to get their direct auto qualification spot for next year's major series.
And jumping ahead to next season, because the winners of the majors this year qualify next year, how many auto qualifiers will there be in future seasons? Will it be limited to 5 in total, or you can have 4 from the majors plus 3 from the worlds?
Exactly. For next season, it will be 7. It will be 7 auto qualifiers through the majors, for the 4 winners, and at the World Championships. Although the one thing that will stick is we never roll down further than 5 at the Worlds. So meaning, let's say one person wins all the 4 majors. So maybe we call it Grand Slam. We can think about that. So one person wins all the majors. Then we don't go down to spot number 7th at the Worlds in order to give these auto qualifiers. So in that case, we would have less auto qualifiers in next season. But the maximum is is 7. So let's say 4 different athletes win the majors, plus and the top 3 at the Worlds are also other athletes. Then we would have 7 auto qualifiers for the 24-25 season.
Okay. And the time-based qualification based on since January 2023, presumably there's a list somewhere, is there, that people can see? I'm already being asked if by athletes if they're in it or not. So
yes, absolutely, and that's something that we put it on the website under construction at the moment, because together with our timing supplier Mika Timing, we are heavily working on that. It needs a little bit more production in the back end, but we will officially put that out there hopefully at the end of next week. So under the elite ranking section on the website will be restructured and redone, and hopefully at the end of next week we are able to also officially announce, or not announce, but put that back on the global ranking on the website.
Okay, all right, great. So that's the majors talked about, and then there's potentially like 12 qualifiers from those majors, like picking the top 3, which would potentially leave a minimum of 3 qualifying spaces that are going to be taken up through 2 last chance qualifying races. Yeah,
exactly. And the reality, we know that, is that expecting that a lot of the top athletes will race in the majors, it will probably be less than 12 direct qualifiers for world champs. So let's assume the reality will be 8 different spots, because again, if someone picks up 3 wins at the majors, then we roll down to number 5, but not further. So theoretically, it could be 12 direct qualifiers for world championships, but the reality will probably rather be around 8 or 9 direct spots. So let's assume there are 6 open spots for world championships for the last chance qualifiers. Then those 6 spots would be equally distributed to both events, 3 and 3. If it's an odd number that's still open, the last race of the season, so the second last chance qualifier, the very last race, will always get 1 spot more. So then it would be 3 and 4.
Okay. And anyone can enter those races, right?
Anyone. That's the good thing. We can both sign up if we feel we can qualify. Anybody can do that. It's an open race. That also means that, of course, we're trying to avoid that. But theoretically, if we have 5 start waves at a last chance qualifier, theoretically, in the very last start wave, someone can just, break the record or whatever, finish on the podium and qualify for world championships. The good thing and fair thing about it is, I think it's really the best solution in order to give everyone the chance to race head to head at the very end. It's not about time. It's really about racing against everyone who still wants to pick up their spot for world championships. And you put yourself to the test and you have to perform on that very day in order to make it to world champs. I think it's a very exciting solution at the end of the season. Those 2 races will be most definitely, we will see a lot of surprises there. We will see a lot of heartbreaking moments of people making it into world champs on the very last second. And I'm really excited for the last chance qualifiers. But it was important for us to keep it open. That's why it's not a grid style race, because that again would limit the amount of people to 15. And we did say that then again we would have to think about how to qualify for those, right? So the idea was really to, at the last 2 last chance qualifiers are open races. Anybody can sign up, and the best make the world champs.
Okay. You sort of just touched on it there, but you've continued to limit it to elite 15. Like the field's increasingly competitive. Did you consider going to 20, 25, 30?
Well, we considered everything, literally. We were talking about it, but we believe, first of all, the Elite 15 is, for us right now, it's a product also that we're trying to promote and trying to communicate. And we want to make it the Elite 15, just like we don't want to change workouts at HYROX or change the amount of running or whatever. We do not want to change much about our Elite 15 series. For now, it's Elite 15. And I think it's a good number. In the end, we have to be very frank here. It has to do also with the setup and with the costs behind it to a certain extent. But it also honestly has to do with the amount of, let's say, people that we want for coverage. So what is the most exciting product? And if the reality is that in the end, it's all about the top 15 and sometimes even only about the top 5 at the end of a race like that, right? From TV production perspective. So we were also very cautious about that adding people there is not necessarily benefiting the overall product. Although I would love to give many more people the opportunity to race in this grid style elite format. But limiting it to 15, I think, is a quite good compromise, and it still gives a lot of opportunity for the top athletes to make it. And yet again, the best 15, that's what we want to see head to head racing against each other.
Okay. And those elite races, they're going to be live streamed, or the majors are going to be live streamed, right? Should we expect something similar to what we saw at the World Championships?
Yes. So the setup is supposed to be more or less exactly like at the World Championships for all the majors when it comes to the live stream. We're trying to, or not trying, we will upgrade it even more. I mean, you're very much aware of what happened there. We're working on a lot more data integration into the stream that unfortunately did not work the way we wanted at World Champs. I'm currently working very hard with the teams on that, and we will see live productions from all four majors. We did not announce what we do with the last chance qualifiers yet, because that very much depends on the local setup. And as it's an open race, it's different to what we are already planning for the majors. But we will most definitely have some kind of coverage of the last chance qualifiers as well. We just didn't want to announce now how exactly that will look like.
Okay. And then I guess the other topic is the prize money. There's going to be prize money for every competitor in the major races. Yeah.
Yes, we were thinking about that also, and we thought it makes a lot of sense to award making the majors in the first place. Also, again, this is something that, for example, we took from tennis, where making a bigger tournament, even first round, also already makes you receive some money. We know it's not changing the world yet, but we're, as I said, in the baby shoes. We're starting to build this out, and hopefully in the future, the top 15 get also financially the reward that they deserve, because it's a really amazing sport and everybody's putting in a lot of effort. And I really think it's world-class athletes racing in the Elite 15. But this is the start, and I really hope that we can build this out in the future.
Okay. I've been asked there, will we still see like a European Championship and a North American Championship? Is that what like Vienna and Washington are going to be called for, like the non-elite competitors?
Yes, exactly. So as not all of the events are officially announced yet, especially the 2024 events are not launched yet, or some of them at least not. So the question is very important, because we want to separate the Elite 15 series and everything that comes along with that from the age group open races. So for the elite, it will be called the HYROX major, the US major, the European major, and the Scandinavian major. Those are the four major races of the Elite 15 series. For the age groupers, we will still have the European Championships and also the North American, or rather US Championships. And in the future, 24-25, we will also for the first time have the Asian Championships. That's for age groupers, and we will announce that separately soon. But that will still be in place, and we will still have these championships races for the age groupers.
Okay. All right, great. And at those events, previously there's been like no pro division. It's been like the open weights. Do you know if that's still planning to continue?
That's something that we are discussing internally also, but we are currently planning to keep that. Main reason is that we want to have many European and US champions, but we do not necessarily want to have two in each age group. So the idea was that whoever wins at an age group European championship, for example, can call themselves literally a European champion age group 45 to 50. And otherwise we would always have two, you know what I mean? So this is the main reason behind the idea of not having two different categories at European and US championships only. And I actually think it's quite exciting. Of course, at all other races, we do have pro categories. At the Worlds, we only have pro categories. That's the other way around. But in order to keep it accessible at the European and North American championships, I'm a fan of that. But we were also discussing that internally, and we will announce as soon as we announce those races officially.
Okay. What's the feedback been so far from the elite competitors that are involved in this? Has it been positive?
Well, look, I have to say, first of all, I really appreciate all the feedback from the athletes that we got in Manchester and after Manchester, and there was like really tough conversations or big discussions about it. and I really appreciate that. I have not heard a lot of negative feedback so far, but in the end, I have to say, I just expect everyone now to really focus on the racing series, and the feedback I got was very positive. I'm very happy about that, I have to say, because we put in a lot of work and effort over the last couple of months in order to build this out and really try to think about everything. But this is for the athletes. This is really not, I mean, we're doing this in order to create something that is fun and competitive, and a fair solution for the global sport of HYROX. Growing in so many markets right now, we of course thought about Australia, where we will have more than 5,000 to 6,000 athletes in the month of August now, which is a big number, and also want to give those athletes the chance to potentially race Elite 15. And there were many things to consider from a global perspective. So far, the feedback was okay and good, so I'm happy about that. But as I said, I do not, after this, I really want to focus on the actual racing series, and not talk about the structure so much anymore.
And are there any other changes planned to the World Championships in general for the age group athletes? Any, or should we expect sort of similar qualifying process to what we've seen in previous seasons?
Yes, it's absolutely a similar qualifying modus. Obviously, we will have some we will also have some new things that we will possibly talk about very soon with you. But we are also working on optimizing and upgrading the World Championships for the age groupers. There were a few things that we think we can improve on from Manchester. There are a few things that were already amazing, but we want to obviously make the next step for next year's World Championships. At the moment, we're still in the last negotiations where we're going to hold them. But once that's set, then we will also work on the details and the nitty-gritty stuff. But for now, that's the plan that we have. And in regards to qualification, we will be very close to what we saw last season.
Okay. All right, brilliant. I think that's pretty much covered it. Is there anything else you wanted to go over before we finish up?
Let me think about it. No, the only thing that I really want everyone to understand is that we will update after each race, obviously now the rankings, and also this qualification system for Worlds and for the majors will have a place on the website. We're building out a landing page on the website where we also put an explanation video plus the graphics. So everyone who wants to try to understand again can go through that. And I think the most difficult part is the roll down. So what happens if athletes were already qualified? How does the roll down work? I think that's something that where we will need probably 2 or 3 events until everybody has a full understanding of that. But as long as it's clear that the top 5 have a chance, depending on the roll down, number 6 does not have a chance because we never roll down further than 5. I think that's a good that's good to memorize. So you have the initial ideas. No, but apart from that, I have to say I'm really excited. And for us, it's now about execution. We have just a few more months until the first major. We know already the 5 people that are directly qualified, and now over the next couple of months, everybody has the chance to put in a time in order to bump the top 10 that are currently in that list that we're going to publish soon out of the race. So I'm really excited about the execution now, but no other additions.
Right, fantastic. And it's probably worth adding that there's obviously cut-off races for those time-based qualifiers. I've shared those when those races are on roxlife.com, and I think it's on Instagram as well. So if people want to know what they are, they can look those up. All right, thank you for doing this. I know I know you've worked hard on it. It wasn't an easy solution by any means. So thanks to the explainer, and hopefully talk to you again soon.